What's going on, Raiders Nation? Raiders Nation. Juan and Joe back at it again for the Silver and Black Allegiance here on a great Wednesday afternoon. What's going on, Juan?
Let's get it, bro. Raider talk. You already know. Week 2. Let's get it, bro.
Yeah, it still gets me. I know what you're talking about. I was watching the Niners and the Chargers, and I heard Papa on there, and I was like, no, still sounds good when he says touchdown Raiders.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, week 2 of the preseason in the books. A lot of news to get to, so that we'll jump right into it. One, I don't know if you saw this. The Raiders reportedly called the Bears about potential Khalil Mack trade right before free agency. Your thoughts on that?
Obviously it cuts a little, wound in my heart. But what do you think Khalil Mack is worth right now, Joe? Like, honestly.
He's not worth what we gave or what they
gave
up for.
No, most definitely.
No. Like, for the Raiders, for a team that needs a pass rusher like we do, and we really do, we still have to give up a first-round pick. We're not giving up the multiple first-round picks, but I would give them a first-round pick and maybe a player or two if they needed it.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to say, bro, because we're doing them the favor because he's making so much damn money.
Yeah.
And that's what the Raiders initially got rid of him for. It wasn't because of his play or like they didn't like him. From my understanding, it was because of the money. And the fact that like they're wanting him back as a story, like him as a Raider coming back, oh, that's amazing. Like, that's great. But from a front office perspective, I don't understand why they're even doing that. It's like, why'd you get rid of him in the first place? It just makes no sense. It kind of pisses me off, to be honest. I would love to have Mac, though.
Raiders stay trying to heat up leftovers. That's what it's okay. A lot of people are taking shots at the Raiders for trying to get Khalil Mack, for calling the Bears and saying, hey, okay, first of all, good. I think it's a good thing to know that John Gruden knows, because John Gruden said he lost sleep over the Khalil Mack trade. He did it and John Gruden's not the only one involved. There was a lot of other stuff, and it was before John Gruden even got there that Khalil Mack stopped talking to the organization.
Yeah.
So it was way before that. He said he lost sleep over that, but they knew that Chicago was in money problems, or they were in money problems. So they said, why not make that call? I know Chicago picked up the phone and they were like, they probably put their hand over it like this, and we're like, it's John Gruden. You know what the hell? Can you believe what the hell he's saying right now? It's John Gruden. Like, he really wants Khalil Mack back. Like, yeah, no, we're good. And then they hang up. Any football team should be looking to improve every year. Yeah. And if it means bringing back players that you traded a couple years ago, you do what you got to do.
You know what, though?
How much balls did that take, John?
Yeah, I was just going to say that. I was going to say that's a lot of balls for him to do. Like, that's putting pride to the side. You know what I mean? Like, most guys will be like, that's a bad look for me. But you know what? He still made the call. But I think that goes to your point of saying it went probably deeper than John Gruden. I think it was an owner decision, as far as, like I said, not the player, but just money wise. I think at that time the Raiders just did not have enough money up front to pay him, because at that time they were still the Oakland Raiders, so they weren't seeing any of this Las Vegas money that they're gonna wind up getting. So I mean, that just goes to show you, like, Mark Davis probably did not want to pay for him.
What's up, Cody Gallardo? Raiders.
That's yes, right. Sir.
Silver and Black Allegiance every Wednesday here on the Warzone Sports Network. Soon to be on the Max and Juan cast when we get that set up. But you guys can check us out here every Wednesday. We'll break down everything. But to go back to your point, okay, this is what people don't understand about NFL contracts. When the Raider or when any team signs somebody to a guaranteed contract, this is how it works. Max, I'm going to sign, or Juan, sorry, I've got the Max and Juan cast in my head now. Juan, I'm going to sign you to this contract, $60 million guaranteed. Well, you know what you're only getting $20 million right now for your signing bonus.
Right.
And then the $40 million is whatever we agree upon, the rest of the $40 million. Well, that team now has to take that money, that $60 million, and put it away.
Yeah.
They can't be like, okay, we're hoping to have $20 million more next year when we owe you that $20 million. No, they have to take that whole $60 million and put it away. So when Khalil Mack wanted $100 million, the Raiders physically had to have $100 million at that time.
And they didn't have it.
And that's an NFL rule. The NFL does that so they don't go bankrupt. They don't owe a lot of people all this money. So all these contracts that you see during free agency and you see guaranteed money, that's crazy.
And look, obviously me and you both love the Raiders, but we got to be real here. The Raiders as a business just has not pounced on the opportunities that they could have. And Mark Davis just not the best businessman. Let's just be real. And the Vegas thing and the NFL helping us out and even letting this whole Vegas thing happen was the best thing for us because we weren't doing shit in Oakland. Oakland wasn't paying us nothing. It's like the NFL wasn't helping us out. We're all on our own. So, I mean, the Raiders were, you can say, a poor organization at the time. I don't think they are now. I think their worth has gone up a lot since they moved to Vegas. You know, that was a couple years ago. It was a different story. And like you said, they didn't have the money right then and there. That's what I think what really happened, what you're saying. And I think a lot of fans missed that part. They just assume like John Gruden didn't know he had talent and Khalil Mack wasn't that good and the Raiders are stupid. I don't think it came down to it came down to numbers. They just couldn't pay the guy.
And we weren't good. We weren't a good team.
Exactly.
Spend all that money on a defensive end and then I mean, look what the Raiders did with that money afterwards. Some people say it's good, some people's bad. So look what they did with the draft picks, if you like them or not. Yeah. That afforded us a lot more other things to do. Where if you would have paid Carr and Khalil Mack at the same time, we could still probably be. I mean, we're still an 8-8 team, and I wish we were a little bit improved, but we could still be at the bottom, winning 2 or 3 games a year. But we have Khalil Mack on the team, so people have to weigh your options of what you
and our roster will be so much more restricted. At least right now, our roster has some future. I know people are going to be skeptical, and you can say what you want opinion wise, but the facts is that we do have building blocks, unlike other teams. And that's what NFL teams want. You want building blocks.
Yeah, and the NFL loves the Raiders so much. I already told you this. They went out and built 2 brand new stadiums. They built one in Vegas and one in LA, so it's nice. And that's a good transition over to joint practices, where the Raiders and the Rams had a joint practice last week. As we know, we talked about it on our show. But every NFL team is doing this now. More and more teams are having joint practices for longer days, longer time. We've seen it before in the past where they did it, but not every team was doing it.
Yeah.
And now it looks like they're using it as preseason preparation for games. So, like, normally we would have saw more Raider starters in week 2, but they all played in those joint practices where they didn't play in the game now. Do you think this is going to be helpful or hurtful for the NFL and the Raiders moving forward?
Well, it's extremely helpful for the team. It sucks for the fans. It sucks for us because I would love to pay for to go to one of these joint practices, legit ones. And usually it's only open to the media, but NFL, what are you doing? Like, sell these tickets. Go ahead and have this as like, I wouldn't mind watching joint practices that are operated like this inside a stadium or on a practice field. I would love to go, just seeing the starters. The preseason sucks. It just does. If you're not a rookie, not many of these guys are playing. And especially for the Raiders. I mean, the Raiders have been throwing out third stringers for the past 2 weeks, but I think it's helpful. It's in a controlled environment, And we all know that if you guys don't, the Patriots are the first one to start the whole joint practice thing. I mean, it had to be them. It had to be Bill Belichick and the cheaters. But but the joint practices are great, dude. I think it's good. Less chance of a quarterback getting hit. You don't have like a guy out there who's trying to kill someone to make the team, and you're gonna wind up getting players hurt, and it's a good thing. I like it. I just wish they sold tickets because I would love to go to one of these.
See, and my thing is when your team is playing your own team. So, like, if Hunter Renfrow burns Nate Hobbs one day at practice, now we're wondering, okay, is Renfrow good or is Hobbs suck?
Right.
Is our defense good? Is our offense suck?
Right.
We're wondering that. Now it lets you go out and play another team and you actually see where you are against other competitors here in the NFL. And some of them make the team, some of them don't. But you know what else I've learned, and I got this from Daniel Jeremiah, the NFL Network, what he says about these joint practices is usually NFL teams would bring their scouts in and they would scout their team for the first 10 days of training camp. Well, now NFL teams are getting smart and they're bringing their scouts in later on when they do these joint practices, and now they're scouting two different teams. They're scouting your team and they're scouting the other team. So when the practice squad comes or these cuts come late in the year, they already have a head start on some of this.
Yeah. And another thing is I heard Derek Carr's press conference a couple of weeks ago when he was talking about the Rams practice. And the big thing he said was just, I love the fact that I don't need to code anything. I can play against a different defense. I don't have Nicholas Morrow knowing the play before we even snap it because he's been practicing against us since freaking minicamp. You know, that's a great that's a great thing to practice because you don't have to cheat your practice. You can literally go out there and try some stuff, and you can have preparation like if it is an actual game. You know, because that's what the Raiders mentality was. All of them said it. They said, yeah, coaches came in. They're like, look, we treated it like a business trip, this joint practice. We knew we weren't going to play in the preseason game. So the starters are like, here we go. We're going to play against the first stringers. Let's treat this like game. And they did. And obviously, from the reports, the Raiders balled out in that joint practice.
Yeah, because even at the NFL level, you still have those practice heroes. They know exactly what the play is, and they blow it up, even though you're supposed to be letting your teammates get the reps and get
exactly. Don't look. I coach Little League basketball, so I know like some of these kids. I'm like, don't cheat the practice. All right, don't cheat the drill. Let's get better here. We all know we've been running the same play and defending the same play for weeks, but don't cheat it. All right,
don't do it
for real, man.
Act like you don't know what's coming.
Exactly.
Well, with all the joint practices going on now, this is what happens during the preseason games. We have the starters like Henry Ruggs there and Carr and Fabian Moreau and Ngakoue just standing there in the sidelines doing nothing. They're cheering on your team, but they're not playing. They're not getting that game reps. They're getting the practice reps now, but not the game reps. Is that resting the starters hurting us, helping us come week one? What are you thinking?
I think it's a conversation to have because I think on one side you have maybe we're going to knock off a little bit of rust when we start week one. And then on the other side, it's like, is that worth it to risk injury? So, I mean, I would say it kind of hurts us in a way. And when I say that is we're not a team that can afford to knock off the rust in September and turn it on mid-season. We need to take advantage of every game that we have, every win, every hard opponent, easy opponent, whatever it is. Got to take advantage of it. And that's the thing that scares me is our team's positive, our team's strength is offense, which is Henry Ruggs, Brian Edwards, Darren Waller. Those are all things that take game reps. Yeah. So I'm hoping it goes back to me saying that like these joint practices are good. And so, you know, these games are not going to necessarily mean a lot, but I wish like at least get a series or two out there, you know, that's what I'm
cut it up and be like, remember when Juan said that joint practices are good and now we suck. You know how
it's still a concern though.
This is what most veterans, and when I say veteran, I'm thinking players that are 3 years in or more, not first year, not second year. Most veterans know what it takes to be an NFL player by the time they get to the third year. You know the offseason routine. You know what your coach is expecting if you have the same coach. You know what your organization is doing. And you know how to get ready for game time. You've been doing it your whole time.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a big issue resting these guys during the preseason. And now if they were doing it like during practice and like Derek Carr was only practicing like 2 weeks or 2 days out of the whole week, then I'd have an issue. After that, I don't have an issue during the game. I love this is what I did love is that the Raiders starters are involved and they're running up and down the sideline. They know what's going on. So they're not just standing on the sideline, sitting there going, like Aitman scored a touchdown last week. Who was the first one there? Derek Carr was the first one to him. So they're watching these games. They're excited for it. And I don't think resting is going to be a big deal, especially if everybody else is doing it. I think, like you said, the joint practices are giving them enough to do it.
That is different because this year, like we said, it's more than often. And I think last year, the only joint practice I can remember that the Raiders did was, I think, the one against the Cowboys, I believe, that we usually do in like Oxnard or something. Excuse me if I'm wrong, but
fight.
Yeah, the year that they had the fight a couple years ago. But we'll see, man. I just, in the back of my mind, if we're losing like 14 to nothing first game, but fuck, we should have had preseason reps, bro. I'm going to wind up blaming it on everything but the fact that we're playing bad, all right?
If Carr and Ruggs would have started preseason game number 2, we would have had that connection right now.
But in reality, it probably is like what you said. It's not gonna matter. But
yeah,
still something to talk about.
Let's talk about this. And week 2 preseason game, they squeaked it through, 17-16 win over the Rams. Our most impressive players. Not a lot, right? Not a lot. People, like when we had to pick these, it was kind of hard. Like I asked you what yours were last week. You gave me 2 or 3. This week you go Nate Hobbs. Nate Hobbs. And I'm with you. Nate Hobbs is, and I did the live stream on here for the game on Saturday. And Nate Hobbs, when he got that interception late in the game, it was like third quarter, right?
Yeah.
When he got that, I was like, that interception, Nate, what the hell is Nate Hobbs still doing in the game? But what an amazing play.
Right.
I put White on there because I think he was all over the field again until he got injured. I haven't found out what his injury is. He got carted off. It's not going to be good. I'm going to guess that he's probably going to be out for some time. I put Alex Leatherwood because I think he improved from week 1 to week 2. They did have that goal line stance where he took out like 2 or 3 defenders on their way to the score. And then, of course, Daniel Carlson, because we have a kicker. I just wanted to brag about how we have a kicker, somebody that can actually make field goals out there when we send them out there, unlike some teams in our division.
Unlike in Charger land, you know.
We don't have a kicking competition. We don't have to worry about that.
Hey, shout out to Daniel Carlson, man, for being our kicker, dude. No regrets from letting go Janikowski, even though we miss him. But back on the impressive players of the week. Nate Hobbs, bro. I mean, this is 2 weeks in a row that this guy flat out is making plays. And I'm loving it because if Morig or, like I said, any other safety or corner that winds up not living up to the potential, we have this guy, Nate Hobbs, waiting, a guy who's hungry and ready to make some plays. And I hope he winds up panning out, man. I hope he winds up balling again and just coaching staff is thinking about like, hey, should we start Nate Hobbs? Like,
yeah,
like, what are we gonna do here? So I love it. It's better than not having anyone ball out. So Nate Hobbs, bro, shout out to you. You've been balling the last 2 weeks.
Nate Hobbs, I don't know. I hope he is a starter. I don't know. I think they're going to give the veterans the start week 1, but dude is all over the field and he is making some plays. And that interception was very impressive. I know it was late and I know it was against some crappy quarterback, but like I said, it was hard to pick some impressive players for week 2. because I thought I was watching and like there was a long run here and there. They let that quarterback like that. I thought our defensive line was supposed to be improved this year, and granted, Max Crosby and Ngakoue aren't playing, but it looks like the same damn thing over and over. Is that our defensive line get there and they make that little curve and they run right, and I'm like, oh, you son of a like, and I don't know if John Gruden and Sean McVay got together and that's the reason they had what was his name? Bryce Perkins, the quarterback for the Rams. And they had him go because he's a mobile quarterback. Maybe they wanted to see what the Raiders could do against a mobile quarterback. But I was just like, I was so pissed off. And then there was like another big run of like 20 yards where they shredded our defense. And I'm like,
yeah.
But I've been impressed with the Raiders but last game there was a couple holes where I'm like, but then that goes back to joint practices. Did they find something in joint practice where they go, hey, we could do this during the game and kick their ass?
Yeah.
So I don't know what to take out of that.
Yeah, it's not much. It's not much. You just hope that, players are out there making plays. And at least, we have Nate Hobbs, who's out there making plays, who should be making plays. And it pisses me off. And it just irks me every time I see him now. Clelin Ferrell. Oh, my goodness, man.
You done with him? You done with Clelin Ferrell?
I'm not done. He can look as him being an impactful player, like something like Max Crosby still has the chance to be, like, pretty good. I think that ship has sailed. I still think he can be a rotational pass rusher. That's solid, but it's just, I don't see any flashes from him, man. It's so tough. I hate to see him get stood up and, washed out of plays. It's just weird, man. He's a tweener. You really don't know where you want to play him. He's a little bit too big for edge, but he's a little bit too small for inside. So it's like he's in between. It's really tough, man. And it's hard to look at that sometimes when you're watching the game and he's still in there in almost the second half.
Yeah, and he's playing against people that he should be dominating
exactly
against. That's the one. I mean, I understand Mayock, and I still like Mike Mayock, and I still believe in him, and he saw something in him, and maybe he could turn it around, maybe he could pull it out, but it's still tough to see it, especially with White winning the Super Bowl with Tampa Bay when we could have had that linebacker, and linebacker has always been our one position that we needed.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand and I think we put a lot more pressure on Clelin Ferrell because of where he was drafted at, and how we see everybody else around them.
And plus the Mac thing. The Mac thing really amplified it. Everyone expected this guy to be the next Mac, but he wasn't. But the one thing that came out of that draft class that is good is because wherever you get the player, whether it's undrafted, 7th round, 6th round, 1st round, you just want an impactful player. And I think what we drafted Clelin Ferrell to be is what Max Crosby is for us.
Yeah.
So we got him in the 4th round. We still got a defensive end that could be really, really good in the future, and that is impactful right now. It sucks that we didn't get it at 4 or 5, whatever Clelin Ferrell went, but we got it in the 4th round. We got Max Crosby. So it's a win the way I look at it. That's just sometimes it's just the way the dice rolls. Your 1st round pick winds up missing, but your 4th round pick winds up being the guy that you wanted to end up like the 1st round pick.
Yeah. And that might be the same situation this year where people are like Leatherwood and Mulrig. I wanted Mulrig in the 1st round. We got Leatherwood in the 1st round. So it could be the same way as long as it doesn't matter where you draft them as long as they perform.
Right.
But we're hoping that Ferrell actually performs.
Look,
and what's going on, Shakeback Media? That's Willie, big Raider fan there, Raider Nation. That's right.
But going just one more thing on Clelin Ferrell. I do agree with people saying like he's a bust and stuff. As far as like you pick a guy top 5, you expect him to be at least a starter on your team for 2 contracts. So I get that side too, because I know people in the comment section are gonna be like, "Man, Clelin Ferrell's a bust. Like you guys are supposed to get this guy and that guy." I get it, but we got Max Crosby, bro. So chill out.
That's right. Shakeback wants to know how you feel about the cover 3 scheme.
I think it's solid. I think it's solid because Morrig is that guy who can be that rangy type safety. have some range, like kind of like an Earl Thomas, a guy that can play the back end. And then you got the hitter and Jonathan Abram that can play the box, kind of like a Cam Chancellor. The one thing that's kind of on the back burner and kind of scares me is pass rush. It's always pass rush with the Raiders. That any type of scheme, whether you run cover 1, cover 3, cover 2, cover 0, it don't matter. It all starts in the trenches with the defensive linemen, whether you get pressure. I don't care how good your corners are. If you don't get pressure, it ain't going to work.
And I saw a little bit from Tyler Gillespie this week that was impressing me. Now, Teamer's crap. He'll be cut. I'm telling you right now. If you guys saw him play, but some of the other safeties that we have, Carl Joseph, he's still hurt. Is he still not back yet?
Yeah, he hasn't. I haven't really seen him.
So I'm going to be impressed with it, and we know we're going to be impressed with it. It's just when we actually see the actual starters on the field, that's when we're going to see the cover 3 and the biggest difference in the Raiders defense. I'm impressed with them so far. Like I said, there was a couple things in the last preseason game where I was like, oh, it's the same damn Raiders. But I like I told you last week, I'm impressed that we're getting 2 to 3 people, 4 people around the ball every play. And that's something that we're not used to. We're used to one guy getting there, getting shook, and goodbye. You know what I mean?
No, that is good, man, because good defenses still keep to the fundamentals. And the Raiders have been missing that for years.
Yeah. Nelson Aguilar, Henry Ruggs all day. Screw Aguilar.
Nelson Aguilar is out there in
Aguilar
Patriot land.
He's
going to have to deal with Cam Newton overthrowing or underthrowing the ball to him, right?
Don't know who Nelson Aguilar is. I don't remember.
Nelson who? Nah.
Our D-line has a lot of depth this year. And then he says Ruggs has a higher ceiling. Yeah, we talked about that last week. The Raiders brought in 16 defensive linemen. Solomon Thomas is probably the one worst one. They just cut Steele this week. That was one guy that people thought might have been able to take the team, but he didn't. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see who they keep around, but yeah, they emphasize on that defensive line. I actually think it's going to be better than what we're seeing, and I'm giving them a hard time because of the preseason game and watching third and fourth stringers go at it. But
I mean, I love what Yannick brings to the table. I'm excited to see what he does. So he's going to be a big contributor because we had nobody like that last year.
Well, thank you for enjoying this.
Heck yeah, man. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video too, man. We appreciate you guys coming on.
But yeah, I Raider Nation, we're gonna be okay. We're gonna be okay. I've seen a lot of hate out there, out there this year, but it comes with it. You and I have been fans for a long time since since we were little kids, and that brings us to our next thing. How did you become a Raider fan? Because it's something that a lot of people asked us since we started the show last week. A lot of people have been asking us, look, raise them right? The best kind of mom raises a Raider fan. Raider Nation, born and raised, baby. So, yeah, go ahead, Mike. Take a look at that. All you Charger fans, all you Broncos fans, take a look at this. Get the screenshot. All you Cowboy fans, that's how you do it.
Hey, but look, man, I'll start it off, okay? I'm born and bred Raider fan. Look, I was meant to be a Raider fan. I was born on the Raiders' birthday, believe it or not. January 30th is the date that the Oakland Raiders got established. So I was meant to be this. Of course, my older brother and my pops, they were Raider fans. So I got brought up like that. I remember back in the day where I would literally not even watch the Raider games because they didn't have no money for NFL Sunday ticket. And back in the day, the Raiders used to have blackouts. I live in LA, so they wouldn't show the Raiders on TV, and it used to be a freaking pain to watch because we couldn't watch the game. So I used to have to listen to it on the radio. So me, my dad, my brother will all be by the radio like it's old school 1980s, 1990s, and listen to the Raiders on the radio play-by-play and be cheering our asses off, bro. So those are just memories of just Raiders losing bad or winning a close one. I love it, dude. Ever since I was a kid, I've always loved the Raiders, man. No switching ship. I never really liked another team. If anything, I was a players kind of dude. You know,
Yeah.
I still love like individual players, but it's always been Raiders all day. Never gonna switch ship. I've seen the 2-14. I've never seen my team, at least when I can understand football, make it to the win a playoff game. Therefore, you know what I mean? And I'm still here. So I ain't never going to switch up. So you can talk all the crap you want, all you haters out there. I ain't never going to switch. I'm always going to rep the silver and black, regardless.
I'm glad Phillip Rivers is gone. He used to kill us. Shakeback Media said he had a bunch of Raider stories. Yeah, we'll have to get you on one of these days. Maybe during the season, we'll let you know. But man, that's a good story. Like I knew that this was coming. I knew that we were going to talk about it. I'm trying to remember the first time and why I became a Raider fan, what made me go. And I don't know, because there's not one person in my family that's a Raider fan. I am the only Raider fan in my family.
Wow.
My uncle and their side of the family, my mom's side of the family, most of them are Steeler fans. We have a couple 49er fans in my family. I am the only Raider fan. I remember liking the Raiders at a young age, and I remember going to my first Raider game, which I believe was in '93 in the LA Coliseum.
Yeah.
And I remember Jeff Hostetler was the quarterback, right? Jeff Hostetler, sitting at the very top, Raider Nation. Then I've gone to, that was my first game, was in LA. I've gone to multiple games in Oakland. I've given the story. My family adopted me. Yeah, I've given the story multiple times about Charles Woodson, that I didn't know one thing about football. My dad worked all the time, and he wasn't a big sports guy. My dad played sports, but he's not one of those sports people. He doesn't sit down and watch a game or like that. And he'll do it if he needs to, but we'll take him. I take my dad to Dodger games. He falls asleep, right? So that's the kind of sports. So I always heard about the NFL draft, and I was like, hey, what is this? And they go, that's when you take the NFL players or the Chicago players or college players get drafted by the NFL players. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna check this out. And I had to be 5th grade, 6th grade when Charles Woodson got drafted, right? So I sit down, I watch Charles Woodson get drafted, fell in love with him, favorite player, watched him throughout his career, finally got inducted to the Hall of Fame. But to actually sit down and tell you why I became a Raider fan, I don't know. I just remember I grew up ever since that 93. I would have been 7 to 8 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
I would say, so you said 93 was like what was your first season following it? Like actually watching at least the majority of the games, knowing what's happening, not just like, oh, my dad was watching it, so I was watching it. More like you knew what was going on and you followed the whole season. What was your first season?
That would be the season, like after like 97, 98 seasons, starting right there when I got into like more junior high school. Yeah. That's when I actually knew what was going on.
Right.
And of course, when you get to high school, I didn't play football before high school, but when I got and I actually knew the game of football and I actually started playing it, that's when you fall in love more. And, you know, I mean, the Raiders were they went to the Super Bowl when I was in high school, so that was kind of cool too.
Yeah, that's dope, man. Like I was only a 7 when the Raiders went. I remember it. I remember it going on, but I do live in LA, by the way, Shake. I remember it, but I can't comprehend it. I was a kid. I was running around doing kid stuff. You know what I mean? I wasn't watching the game. So I don't really consider myself like experiencing that. Yeah. My first season, I would say, is the Kerry Collins and Randy Moss year. That's when I start, and it was one of the worst years, like from the Raiders. It was bad, dude. But I experienced Kerry Collins. I remember the Jamarcus Russell days and the.
I went to a game during the Kerry Collins, Randy Moss era, and I was sitting in the black hole, and I'm telling you, I was a Raider fan, and I was booing Randy Moss because I would watch. I'm serious, right there watching Randy Moss, and he's walking to the end zone.
Yeah.
He's walking on every play, and I'm like, and people are like, "Oh, he's the greatest." I'm like, he's the greatest on our team. He's not doing crap for us. And every interview he says since then, he talks crap about the Raiders.
Yeah.
I saw Kerry Collins versus Jim Harbaugh. It must have been amazing.
The first game I went to was in junior high. I think I was like in 7th grade or something. My dad and my brother, we went to a game versus the Chiefs. I think it was 07, and Dante Culpepper was the Raiders quarterback. We had at running back, I think it was Justin Fargas, I believe.
Yeah.
If I'm mistaken, I can't remember, man. But it was a defensive game. We winded up losing by 2 points. It was 17-15. It was a weird score. But I remember watching Larry Johnson and Tony Gonzalez when he was on the Chiefs, man. That was my first Raiders experience, bro. And I remember like how loud the stadium got as a kid. It just felt different. I felt the stadium shaking and roaring, and going through the tunnel to get into the stadium. All you heard was echoes of Raiders just all around, man. I fell in love, bro. It was love at first sight. I loved it ever since. And talking about moments like this is reasons why I missed the Coliseum. It was a piece of shit. It was a dump, but it was our dump. All right. Yep. That's what it was.
Horrible stadium, but you knew when you walked in there.
Oh yeah,
that's Raider Nation right there.
Yeah,
and people, you can talk all the crap you want, but I took my wife to a game a couple years ago at the Coliseum, and I was like, look, I'm gonna warn you, the stadium's not the greatest, but it's awesome. Like, you're gonna love the game and the experience that you get there. And she's like, okay, so as soon as we're pulling up. And you know how you're pulling up, and you got to go to the parking lot at the Coliseum. I start blasting the Raider theme song, and if you don't know the Raider theme, dun 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 dun, right? Raiders used to have a full blown band in their stadium playing that one at some points, but they played after all the field goals, all the. But that just I hear that all the time. I get pumped up when I hear a score touchdown.
Oh yeah,
I get pumped up. The autumn wind. all that stuff pumps you up as a Raider fan. So I'm playing that, and we're driving around the stadium, and we're walking, and we get into the parking lot, we park, and we're setting up the tailgate for me and my wife and the people that are with us. So we're setting it up. Here comes, and speaking about marching band, here comes a big old marching band right down the tailgate playing that song. And my wife right there she was like, that's awesome. I mean, we tipped them. Everybody tips them when they're walking around. And then I was like, hey, check this out. We talk to anybody here. Everybody's talking to you. No matter what fan base, you didn't have to be like, people always thought like, I'm not going to go to Raider game. I'm not going to go wearing an opposing gear. Yeah. If you're stupid, you're stupid. And you're going to get what comes to you. But Raider fans are encouraging and they bring you in, and we're gonna talk some crap.
Yeah, you're gonna get some heckling. You're gonna, it's trash talk. They're gonna boo your ass coming down the aisles and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's all love. We just hate your team. That's all it is. We gonna scream Raiders all day, bro. And the one thing about Raider games that what makes me disappointed with the Vegas stuff is tailgating, bro. There's nothing like a Raiders tailgate, bro. Shout out to B-Lot out there. But my first time experiencing in the parking lot tailgating, sometimes I will go and you'll get like the additional parkings and you'll tailgate over there. But I finally got like in the stadium, woke up at like 4:00 in the morning, bright and early, ready to go, barbecue, all of that. Bro, me and my brother had this little, like, tiny, like, the little barbecuer. Yeah. Had some, like, carne asada, like, winded up barbecuing that. Dude, the guy next to us put us to shame, dog. This dude had a big old truck. This dude took out satellites, TVs, state-of-the-art barbecuer. My man's had DirecTV, Sunday Ticket on there, a whole bunch of stuff, chairs, big old table. It was dope though, bro. Just right away when you parked, everyone just started putting out all their stuff, bro. It was amazing, bro. And this is 7:00 in the morning on a Sunday. Like, that's how much dedication Raider fans have.
Yeah, because you start there.
Yep.
You're watching the red zone with everybody in the parking lot. You're having a great time, and then the Raider game normally didn't start till 1:00, 1:30
Yep.
at the latest, and you walk in, and yeah, it was a great feeling. And like people always go, "Why are you leaving so early to go to a Raider game?" Like, because you need to experience the parking lot.
Everything. It's all about the experience, bro. And that's what the Coliseum was. It was an experience. You didn't go use the restroom. You know, everyone wants to bag about the freaking pipes and stuff. I don't give a damn. You went there to experience the tailgating, the people, the environment, the game, and just the feeling that you get when you go to a Raider game, bro. There's nothing like it.
I never have a voice after the Raider game for at least
2
or 3 days afterwards because of how many times you're yelling Raiders, how many times you're yelling.
I don't sit down. I rarely sit down during the game. Rarely. Because if you sit down, you're not going to be able to see because someone in front of you is standing up. Just to put it in perspective, like I said, I'm an LA guy from LA. I've been to a Laker game. Laker games suck compared to Raider games. People look at you crazy because you're cheering. I got looked at sideways because I was so loud for the Lakers. And I was just like, man, I miss Raider games. I was like, I'm not at home here. I love the Lakers. I'm still going to love them, but fan base sucks. I'm sorry.
I've been to multiple Raider games in the rain. Rain, where you're getting soaked and nobody's leaving. Everybody's still standing there. Everybody's still soaked from head to toe, and you're just having a great time. And I was going to mention this to you the other day. I know that you and Max put a thing up there about the Raider game when Theo Moore and Khalil Mack were celebrating, right? Yeah. I was at that game.
Really? Thursday night? That's a freaking great game to go to, too, man.
I was at the game. The Raiders were 0-11.
Yep.
Going into that game. Thursday night game versus Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs were actually pretty good that year. It was with Alex Smith. And going up there the whole time, I said, Latavius Murray's going to have his breakout game today. I put him in my fantasy roster, and everybody's like, what the hell are you doing putting Latavius Murray? And he went off that game. That last play, a lot of people forget about it, it was the second to last play. And I remember watching it from the stands, and I was like, what the hell are they doing? What are they doing? Call timeout. And they called the timeout. My buddy at the time, we took him up there. He's not a Raider fan, but he just went for the experience. Yeah. And it was Thursday night. So imagine, like, you're talking about Sunday morning, getting up at 5 a.m., being there till 1. Now imagine a Raider stadium where the game doesn't start till 5 o'clock at night. 5:30 at night.
Yeah, and the anticipation is crazy, man. I've never went to a primetime game in Oakland, but I did go to a Thursday night game against the Kansas City Chiefs a couple years ago when the Raiders were good, the season that they were good. And it was one of the 4 losses that they had. It was heartbreaking, but I went, man, it was so cold. It was 5 degrees in Kansas City. And I was still out. Me and my brother were still out there, bro, cheering on loud as hell, heckling the Kansas City Chiefs fans. We was out there talking all that mess, bro. But it was amazing, man. It was. I'll give it this. I hate the Chiefs. I hate them to death, bro. But out of all of the fan bases, the only fan base that comes close to the Raiders is Chiefs fans. That's it. Charger fans suck. Bronco fans suck. Chiefs fans, at least they're legit. They're faithful to their team. They're not weak. They stand true to their squad.
You know, when you bring up faithful, I think it's funny because I always make fun of Niner fans because they have to put it in their little motto. We're 49er faithful. Yeah. Like when you got to put that in there, you're not faithful.
Yeah, exactly.
But the thing about us being Raider fans, Raiders haven't been winning a lot since I've been a Raider fan. Yeah, I saw them in the Super Bowl and it sucked when they lost. And it's going to be amazing when the Raiders actually turn around and we're there. And this is for any team. Don't jump bandwagons. Don't do anything. Hang on to that one team. Even if you're a Detroit Lions fan, losing for all these years and one day they win that Super Bowl, it's going to be all worth it.
So great. I always tell Max this, man. I don't know what I'll do if the Raiders won the Super Bowl. I don't know. I don't know how I'll react. I don't know if I'm going to cry, go crazy. I don't know what I'll do, but It'll be amazing. Like, bro, I get hyped up when we freaking like win a preseason game. I get hyped sometimes. You know what I mean? I can only imagine what the Super Bowl is. And even that year that we were good, it was amazing. Like, I was like, this is what I've been waiting for right here.
I think if the Raiders win the Super Bowl, I think I'd cry. Like I finally saw my Dodgers win the World Series, and it got to me. It was emotional, but football tops everything, right?
Right. It's different.
I was very emotional for the Dodgers, loved it, but the Raiders,
woo! That's another. I feel the same way. I feel the same way with the Lakers when the Lakers won the championship because both sports teams won it. I was happy. Don't get me wrong. I was hyped, but there's no other feeling if the Raiders would have won. I freaking get hyped when the Raiders win regular. That's the thing. Like, that's what people got to understand. Like, it's on a whole different level with the Raiders, man. It's diehard.
That game I told you I went to, they were 0-11. They won one game. I'm going out of the stadium 1-11, baby.
Yes, sir. That's what it's all about, man. I was so happy, man. Max is actually a witness. I was watching that game with him, and he was like, dude, you're going insane. You're acting like this is a playoff game. I was like, I don't give a damn. Number one, it's a Raider game regardless. Thursday night against the Chiefs, like, I'm hyped, bro. I don't care. Even the year that we sucked and we played the Niners, Battle of the Bay, and Donald Penn caught that touchdown, I was so excited when the Raiders won that game. We're used to it, bro. We're used to celebrating wins that don't really matter, the aftermath of it, but it feels so damn good. It feels so damn good when they do it. I just hope that this year we get to see it in meaningful games.
Me too. And speaking about 49ers and the Raiders play the 49ers for the first time in preseason this weekend. If you are going to the game and you're watching this, please behave. Please behave. There's a reason they canceled this preseason matchup, and I don't condone anything like that. Just go and have fun. Like, root on your team. Don't get pissed off. When you're fighting the stands, that's just stupid. So please behave. But Raiders are going to take that W over the 49ers anyways.
I hope we pick off Trey Lance. That's all I hope.
I don't know how many starters. We probably won't see any starters this week either, huh?
Nah, I don't think so.
So we appreciate you guys tuning in. Silver and Black Allegiance. We're going to be here every Wednesday throughout the season. If you are a Raider fan, please join us. If you're not a Raider fan and you want to troll us like some of you guys have been, hey, welcome. Just make sure you hit that subscribe button, and we'll be back every Wednesday night. You got anything else to say?
Hey, look, man, just echoing the words of Joe, go ahead and hit that like, subscribe to the channel. If you guys love Raider Talk, man, come back every Wednesday. Like he said, we're going to give it to you raw, live, and uncut. All right. From two passionate, diehard Raider fans. All right. Make sure to subscribe to the Warzone Sports Network. My name is Juan from the Max and Juancast. Don't forget to check us out. We're on YouTube, Instagram, all of that. Appreciate Joe. And we out.
Raiders.
Let's get